Welcome back to another episode of 2 Point Sports. Today we're going to be recapping this past Saturday. Obviously, Oklahoma had a bye week. Actually ended up winning this bye week, jumping up to number 5 in the AP poll going into Kent State. Talk a little bit about the opponents that we have for the schedule, how they fared over the weekend, maybe a couple things on OU, what we hope to see over the next stretch of football games before our next bye week. Before we get into everything, as always, like, comment, subscribe. You guys know the deal. All right, let's get started. I don't know. To me, I think the biggest game for us to talk about is LSU Ole Miss because before the season started, LSU was, to many people, like the favorite to be the national champion. And now it's been multiple weeks where if you guys look at LSU Twitter at all or hear any of the post-game press conferences for LSU, almost all of them are worried about how bad their offense is and has looked, and it didn't look any better. Ole Miss, I don't think has a terrible defense, but they haven't looked that good. So I'm gonna kick it to Brandon real quick to start us off. I'm pretty sure you said you watched the game. What did you think about the
Yeah,
Ole Miss offense?
that's the thing that I was going to talk about with that game. It's a weird game to me because LSU, again, yes, as you mentioned, was a lot of people's national champion. They were almost everybody has them in the playoff. They're a very highly touted team that people think a lot of good things about. And then you watch them play at Clemson in week one, but back in that time, that was supposed to be like a potential future national title matchup that we're seeing in week one. And it was a good college football game. It was a relatively low scoring game, good defense being played. And obviously the LSU Tigers obviously beat the Clemson Tigers in that game. But then you fast forward to where we are now, and Clemson's clearly not very good. Like they might be ass. And then you have LSU who beat them in a very close game. Haven't really played anybody since then. And then they go too hotty toddy and they lose. Granted, it's a close game, so it's a tough game to figure out. Like I don't know how good LSU really is. I think Ole Miss might be good, but again, I don't know how good that LSU team is that they just beat. So like you have to give Ole Miss their flowers that they won. They did what they're supposed to do. They beat a number 3 or 4 team in the country at that point in time. They shot out to number 4 in the rankings. Things are, looking good in Oxford right now, but I just don't know how good that LSU team is to really think that it's like a fantastic win or whatever as it looks right now on paper. Because I think LSU might end up losing 3 or 4 games, and we'll see about Ole Miss.
Yeah, I haven't looked at LSU's schedule for the rest of the season, but I will say like it was kind of cool. I think the very first touchdown of the game for LSU was Nick Anderson, and it was like it's like corner of the end zone. Like it was very reminiscent of OU Texas 2023, which is kind of fun. I think I texted y'all and I was like, Nick Anderson's doing exactly what he knows how to do. So
And
that was kind of fun to watch.
I tried to text back to that. I didn't realize that it didn't send, but as soon as you sent that, I wasn't watching the game. You said he's doing what he's like always does or whatever, and I wanted to say, did he get broken in question mark? But you were talking about him.
No, he caught a touchdown in the corner of the end zone. Like he did what he knows how to do. But I mean, it was fun to watch. I think that was like 2 or 3 minutes into the game. But I mean, yeah, I watched parts of that game. I watched Georgia Alabama. I was kind of shocked to see. I mean, okay, Georgia Alabama was like it was just entertainment. Like it really was, and it's what every like classic SEC big game is. It's just like scoring, scoring, scoring. Like just very entertaining game. I'm gonna be honest. Like I was shocked to see Bama win that game. I thought Georgia was gonna win that game. But
So, like, is Alabama back, or do they just own Georgia? Because they seem to always beat Georgia, no matter the setting, no matter the
I
time of
think
year.
I think they're
Because they
kind of
beat
they're their kryptonite. Like I don't think they're back. I haven't looked at their schedule either for the rest of the season, so I don't know what it's gonna look like for them. But I don't know. I mean, Georgia is a very good football team, But it's also like you can't ever count Alabama out. Like, oh yeah, they lost to Florida State, but that doesn't mean they suck. Like, you know. So I don't know. I'll look. Let me look at their rest of their season. Someone else say something.
So
I'm gonna look at the rest of their season.
I'm looking at Alabama's schedule right now. Next week, it's kind of a big game. Vanderbilt goes to Tuscaloosa, an undefeated Vanderbilt goes to
Yeah.
Tuscaloosa, and then they've got Missouri, which is not an easy game. They go to Missouri, then Tennessee and Tuscaloosa, South Carolina, which now looks a little bit uh, more manageable than it did before the season started. LSU, which again looked more manageable than when the season started. Then us on November 15th, Eastern Illinois, so Cupcake, and then the Iron Bowl to end the season.
So I think with South Carolina, just go back to them for a second because you mentioned them in their schedule as more manageable, and I do agree with you. It's not like as scary as it looked on paper to start the season, but I do think that they rebounded pretty well on Saturday. They kind of beat the hell out of Kentucky, and that's not to say that like that the Wildcats are like some sort of elite team or anything, but they also lost by a touchdown in Ole Miss. You know, like they were right there with the Rebels the whole game. So I mean, that was. I thought it was a good win for South Carolina. They kind of look good again on Saturday night, but they're always good on those night kickoffs at home. For some reason, they always come out. But I thought South Carolina looked good. I thought back to the Bama Georgia game, I thought it was really, really, really cool that they threw a screen pass to a 400-pound guy and let him run. That was awesome. Like that was awesome football. Like I hope that we adapt something like that. Because, like, can you imagine throwing a screen pass to like an Eddie Pierre-Louis, like a guy who's just a freak athlete, and just let him go run and try to run people over? Like he can do some crazy things. I think that would be a fun play to steal. And it obviously worked out for Bama.
Yeah, it would be fun. And I think the one thing with Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, it's been his MO to start off pretty hot. So I'm not saying that they're bad, but where they land in our schedule is kind of where he starts to kind of shit the bed a little bit, whether it's coaching blunders or the players make mistakes that end up losing the game. We might be lucky in the placement of when we play them, and it is in Norman, which helps us out that much more. Because if they are a good team and they don't make those mistakes, that home field advantage is going to be big. And hopefully Oklahoma is still undefeated or a one-loss team going into that game. Because right before that is Texas and South Carolina. So it would be Oklahoma's first home stint in 3 weeks at that point. Going to be big by the time that gets around. The thing with Bama and Georgia, and Bama specifically, I think that first game caught them off guard, probably just like everyone else in the country. No one thought Florida State was going to be that good, and they definitely should have respected them. Where I don't think that that's an excuse to lose by that much at all. But Florida State did just lose to Virginia. And Virginia might be good. It's a conference game. Stuff happens, but they don't look as unbeatable as they did a week ago. This entire college football season is pretty open. I think you can name probably 15 teams that could legitimately win the college football national championship this year.
100%. I mean, I think that was another thing I was going to talk about there is like, I don't think there's any clear cut, like number one. Like I think I went into this weekend thinking Oregon was like the number one team in the country. Like in my opinion, the best team in college football. And granted, they won in Penn State. But like Penn State's always a weird team. And I get it's a whiteout in Pennsylvania. They go kind of crazy there. But they let Penn State right back into that game. Like they had a 14-point lead. Dan Lanning's doing the whole like it's over with 12 minutes left, and he almost looked like the biggest idiot of all time. That would have been clipped forever if Penn State came back and won that game like they almost did. Just to go with your point, I think you're exactly right. Where this field is wide open, and I don't think we've seen anything this weekend while we were on a bye week to think like that Oklahoma's not right in the mix. I think even without Hawkins, like I think we're still in or without Mateer and with Hawk, like we're in the mix right now. But I mean, like you said, we have to be a one-loss team at worst going into that Ole Miss game. I think for us to be kind of in that spot.
Yeah, I think this week there were a lot of like Oregon State, Penn State going or Oregon, Penn State going into overtime. Um, what was the other overtime game? Like it,
Mississippi State,
yeah, Miss
Tennessee.
State, yeah. Like it's not clear cut. There's not. I think in the past there's always been like Alabama has been like the clear cut, like better than everybody else. Like there, I think this year's there's not that team doesn't exist where that's like that team is just better than everybody else. They're going to win the championship, and it makes it more fun, right? It's like there's these crazy overtime games that you're like didn't expect that, and it makes college football fun again. And I think NIL is making that fun again. Like all the money pumping into college football that like we're seeing that. I mean, it was happening before, but we're seeing that now is making it more fun. So it's like you never know. Like we're gonna go through our SEC gauntlet, and you don't know what's gonna happen. And I think that almost makes it more exciting because it's like we don't have these top tier teams that are untouchable anymore. It's like, okay, Alabama Georgia is a fun game to watch. It's head to head. Like we don't know what's going to happen. And then Alabama wins, who Alabama lost to Florida State. Georgia is no longer looks untouchable. So it's like it's just like more fun these you know? So, I don't know. We're going to run this SEC gauntlet and it's going to be kind of like I mean, I would hope we win all these games, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be fun. I don't know. We'll see
Well,
what
let's
happens.
let's let's pivot that talking about the SEC gauntlet to what Oklahoma needs to improve on over the next 8 games because going into week 6, we are 4-0, but I think we could all agree we're not a perfect 4-0. We don't look unbeatable by any means at this point. Brandon, I'm going to start with you. What is the biggest thing that Oklahoma needs to improve on, in your opinion, to actually be able to get to that SEC championship conversation, top 4 seed in the playoff type of team?
I mean, I think it's very easy. I think without a doubt is to establish a run game without John Mateer or slash Michael Hawkins when he comes in. I mean, because don't get me wrong, it's awesome to have a quarterback that has that ability, and you have that in your playbook to where you can run a Mateer, you can run a Hawkins on a design play. And I'm not saying that we're going to just like go away with that like altogether. But I think if Oklahoma wants to be at the part of the season where they want to be, and competing for a playoff spot slash SEC title game spot or whatever whatever you want to say, I think the only way to get there, like legitimately, is to establish a true running game with your running backs. And I don't think it's really weird. Like I don't think it's the backs. I think Torrey Blaylock's a stud. I think Jaden Ott, if he ever comes back in the latter half of the season, could be a stud. And your line does fine on pass plays, and maybe that's just John Mateer making plays. But you have to establish a running game with your running backs, because right now we don't have it. Like that Auburn game, we had I think we averaged 2 yards a carry like for the whole game, and John Mateer was still your leading rusher. Like that I think is the biggest and potentially only like glaring hole on this roster. Because I mean, you're getting Giovanni Gibson back, you're getting Eli Bowen back the rest of the way. I don't think you have like just a huge problem anywhere, which is, I mean, it's awesome. It's good to have. But besides that run game, I think that's still an issue, because you can't just rely on John Mateer to be Superman at every point of the season when it's like winning time. I think he can do it for so long, but eventually it's not going to work.
I would agree. Um, Also, the turnovers need to stop. I think what is it, 5 turnovers through 4 games that we have, which I mean it's just not good. And I know 2 of them were pretty decent opponents, at least defensively. Auburn's defense is actually not bad, and Michigan's defense is also pretty solid. So I guess it's excusable, but still, like then that still leaves turnovers against teams that aren't up to the competition. It just we are guaranteed at least a turnover a game, and that's not okay because we've been lucky where that our defense kind of bailed that offense out on those turnovers. But at some point, you're going to run into a team that won't let down on a turnover like that. They're going to capitalize on that opportunity, like a Tennessee. I think, regardless of them going to overtime this weekend against Mississippi State, they're not going to make it easy, and it's going to be in Knoxville. That crowd is not going to make it easy. So make sure you clean up the turnovers. And I would love for Oklahoma to go hire Pittman as an
Line.
analyst to
Man,
help out with the run game coordinating because that I don't even think that this offensive line is necessarily bad because like you mentioned, they're obviously good. They're pretty good at pass blocking. They might not be great. They might not be Joe Moore award winners or even finalists, but they're solid. I think it's the design of the run game because you'll see some runs go off for like 8 or 9 yards, but then they get stuffed for nothing or negative yards. Like it's not consistent. So my thought is it's got to be how they're designing the game plan for the run game. And if you can get a guy like Pittman that can help both Biedenbaugh and DeMarco Murray with that game plan, you might be able to turn some things around here. And if you bring back Jaden Ott from the grave, I don't know what's been going on with him, but hopefully he's ready to go for the rest of this stretch. You've got a backfield that has a guy that was highly coveted out of the transfer portal and a true freshman that really no one saw coming. And then a guy like Javante Barnes that can kind of be your bruiser in short yardage situations. And he's proven to be pretty solid in those situations.
if you're gonna bring Jaden Knott back from the grave that it looks like he dug for himself, like this seems to be like a great weekend to do it, right? Against Kent State, a team that you should mollywop no matter who's at quarterback. You should be able to do whatever you want. And I know that it's still football. They still have 11, like they're still gonna try, so you can't just do whatever you want. But like in theory, you should, like if you're Oklahoma, you should be able to have a lot of great plays. And I think this could be a great week to get Jaden Knott back going because we have one 100-yard rusher from running back, and that's Torrey Blaylock against Temple. That can't be our constant theme going the rest of the way. Like it's the teams we play are too good, and if we're just relying on John Mateer, as great as he is, to save us every time, it's just not going to work.
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to talk about like Jaden Ott coming back because it's like Torrey Blaylock has shown out so much as our running back. So he's been fun to watch. And if Jaden Ott could be even better, like that'd be great. Like going into SEC play, like if we could have two running backs who are both great, that'd be amazing. But I think y'all made a good point. Like Alabama had Alabama and Georgia have not looked undefeatable. You know, it's like we don't play Georgia. We're gonna play Alabama. We're gonna play them in Tuscaloosa. I think it'll be interesting to watch. Like I don't know. We have Kent State and then we have Texas, of course. Uh, Fingers crossed that John Mateer is back at that time. But even if he's not, like Michael Hawkins, like I think that he can ball out and he's gonna do a good job. And that'll be it'll be interesting to see him play against Kent State, see what he can do. I think he's had a whole year to develop over the past year. Um, so it'll be interesting. Fingers crossed still that John Mateer's there for Texas. Even if he's not though, like it's gonna be very interesting to see how the season goes.
I agree. Couldn't have said it better myself.
That was
Brandon, do
just
you have
beautifully said.
you have anything to add, Braden, before we wrap it up for today?
No, I think I'm good. I think we should kick to Emily and let her just wrap the show up because
Let me keep
that was beautiful.
it. Emily has things. Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you, guys.
Emily's been watching football at Jimmy's all afternoon. Okay, if I happy dads. And the dogs have things to sing too. Okay, good night.
See ya. Thank you guys all for watching. See you next time.